Well, it happened in Georgia, and we talked about it. We covered the Alabama anti abortion law earlier this week, and now Missouri has passed another one of these absurdly extreme anti abortion bills. And this bill passed in the Missouri Senate. And what it would do is ban abortion starting at 8 weeks of pregnancy, period. Remember, many women don't even know that they're pregnant until 5 weeks into pregnancy, 6 weeks into pregnancy. There are obviously exceptions that go even beyond that, but it's very common that until 5 or 6 weeks into pregnancy, a woman may not know that she's pregnant. And this bill would set a limit for legal abortions at 8 weeks. The bill now goes back to the House for one more vote before it would be sent to the Republican Missouri Governor Mike Parson for a vote into law, and Parson is expected to sign it. Now, there are some important differences between this law and others that have been passed. One is that this is a law that, in its most extreme form, would be triggered by the overturning of Roe v. Wade and otherwise has some slightly less insane provisions and limits in it. In terms of exceptions, there are exceptions in this law for medical emergencies, but like the Alabama law, no exceptions for rape, no exceptions for incest either. And as far as punishing doctors and or women who have abortions would not be prosecuted, and doctors who perform abortions after 8 weeks could be faced with 5 to 15 years in prison. So once again, it's not so much about this law specifically, although looking at what it is that they're doing and the provisions that are and aren't part of each law is important. This is all part of the bigger plan that we've been telling you now about for months, and in more detail for a couple of weeks, and in more significant detail in the last 3 or 4 shows this week. This is all part of the bigger plan to get one of these laws struck down by a lower federal court, and then use the appeal process to try to get it to the Supreme Court to really get an opportunity that maybe has not been around for decades to seriously stifle abortion nationally, either through a sort of implicit conflict with Roe v. Wade, or in some scenarios by actually getting Roe v. Wade overturned. Although, as I explained on yesterday's show, overturning Roe v. Wade in and of itself is not necessary for these laws to have an appeal process ultimately to the Supreme Court that could result in the significant limiting of abortion federally, not federally, and in multiple states as a result of a federal court's ruling. And it's important to know that, Missouri already has one of the strictest anti-abortion laws in the country. They've got a 72-hour mandatory waiting period. There's only one abortion clinic in the entire state. So when you step back and we see that we had Alabama earlier this week, we've already seen Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Ohio moving forward with abortion bans once fetal cardiac activity can be detected, which again is right around the 6th week of pregnancy. North Dakota and Iowa tried similar things so far. Those have been struck down in court. The whole point here is pass something so extreme that it has to be seen as a conflict with Roe v. Wade, which will in the immediate get a court to strike it down, which will, over the medium to long term, open it to appeal all the way up to the Supreme Court, which Donald Trump has had the great fortune, if you are on his side, of being able to appoint some very conservative justices to. And this is going to be a huge fight. And it's yet another reminder of how ignorant that idea was, that Trump and Hillary are going to be the same. You know what? If it's not going to be the person I really want, it almost doesn't matter whether it's Trump or Hillary because they're going to be the same. Well, listen, I hope anyone who had that idea now realizes how absurdly ridiculous and wrong it was. Hillary would not have put two lunatics on the Supreme Court who would have systemically endangered abortion rights across the country and reinvigorated what we are seeing at the state level now, meant to really repress abortion rights nationally. Hillary would not have considered military action against Venezuela and in Iran, maybe in other places, as some people like to argue. But the idea that they were both equally likely to get us into military conflicts, come on. I mean, there's a very long list here of countries that Trump has considered military action against. There is a very long list of issues on which, in practice, not in theory, but in practice, Trump and Hillary would have been very different. And I hope nobody falls for that nonsense going into 2020, because we are seeing that the impact is real. The impact is on people. This is not theoretical political science. This is day-to-day affecting people's lives. If you love learning new things, you probably want to check this out. The David Pakman Show today is sponsored by Skillshare, and we're giving you 2 entire months of free access to Skillshare when you click the link underneath this video. Skillshare is a vibrant online learning community offering more than 25,000 video classes on just about anything you can think of. Get better at playing an instrument. Learn to use Photoshop. How to edit videos. They have classes on drawing, painting, business, cooking, nutrition, personal productivity, and I'm not even really scratching the surface. I recently took a great class on introductory watercolor painting. I'm still not good, but I am learning, and you can access the entire library of fun, easy to use online courses for free for 2 months by using the link underneath this video. 2 months of learning something that's totally new to you, something you want to get better at, something you already love, or you can get ahead in your career by learning new skills that will help you at your job. I've gotten a ton out of it. Pat has taken some courses that he's found really valuable, and I think you'll love it too. Get started for free by clicking the link under this video.